My name's Dan Garr. I am 57 and I have stage 4 prostate cancer. It was interesting how I found out. 5 years ago, there was a 5.5 PSA. If you're not familiar with the PSA, it's something that you should do on every blood test when you're 50 years old and older, just to check your prostate levels. But 5.5 is high, normal is 3.4. And then it was neglected for 5 years until I had this weird gout incident and went to get a blood test, and the doctor said, well, how's your PSA? And I said, just run it, I don't know. And found out it was like 9.5 or 9.6, which was a shock, which is way too high. So immediately we did a biopsy, which is very uncomfortable and something that I never wanted to do again, and later made a decision to have the prostate taken out because I didn't want to go back in for those biopsies. Once we found out, we did the blood test and then did the PET scan afterwards to find out if it had spread, and found that it had spread to the bone. So there's a lesion in my rib, and we made the decision at that point that it's best to have this removed, but we didn't have enough information. And the first doctor wanted to just put me on hormones and call it a day, and I just didn't understand that, and I couldn't, once I started to understand that, and you look these things up online, things online will scare you to death. They're absolutely blown out of proportion. The information is very hard to extrapolate if you don't have knowledge of the subject. So I interviewed more doctors. Some doctors were just rushing me to get in and have the surgery like, it was a fire sale and we're having a sale on prostatectomies. And were calling me late at night to get me signed up and get the insurance and everything situated, but it just didn't feel right. There was a massive gap of humanity, that there was no explanation to what they were going to do, why they felt it should come out. It's just, let's get it out. If you want it out, let's get it out. And I'm not the doctor. I don't want to make that decision. I'm just thinking, why leave cancer in your body at all? Why treat it? If you can get it out, get it out. If it hasn't spread, get it out. If there's a doubt, there's a lot of treatments. I'm not the source of knowledge on that, and every cancer is so different. So I interviewed another doctor, and he had a direction as well, and he thought HIFU might be the way to do it, and noticed that there was a lesion on the rib, and said, I don't think that is anything. And there's still, to this day, they're not sure about that part, how it got there, because it can travel through the blood without going to the lymph nodes or any of the bladder or anything like that. So it's very sneaky. And then I met with Dr. Wilson, and in the same meeting, I knew without a doubt this was absolutely the best surgeon that I could find for this situation. Why? Because he took the time to explain every single part of it to me. He gave me his number, his cell phone number, at the end of the meeting if I had further questions. I had to book the surgery quickly because he had an opening that came up, which I believe was, just a gift from God, that it was that timing. And we decided on it right at that moment. And then Dr. T came in, and what an amazing team. I mean, once you start meeting all of these guys that work together, there's a reason they're together, because they click and they're phenomenal, and they care about curing you more than just treating you. And where I was a number before, I felt like I was in a home where someone was actually watching out for me. Every nurse that came in, everybody was just fantastic. His team, they're some of my favorite people. So I'm a swimmer. I've always been active. I've always worked out, and I've always been a surfer my whole life. Ever since I could swim at about 4 years old, I figured out surfing is so much fun. So the water was a great place, and the swimming, which I thought would be a lot easier, it's very strenuous. It's a workout. I've never been so hungry in my life from any other sport. I played football, I did all these other things, but swimming will make you so hungry, and your weight drops fast if you can control your eating. And it's an amazing workout. You get out of the water and you feel great. You can tackle any day. So I started doing swimming, I think back in 2015 or so. And my friend said, hey, we're going to go swim with my brother out in Europe in the Mediterranean. You want to go? And I said, yeah. He goes, well, we're going to do like a 10K. And I said, 10K, that's about what, 6.5 miles or something? Sure, I can do that, you know? So I started training for it, and we get there and we did this great swim, and it was amazing. And everybody said it's too easy, and I said, I thought it was fine. Next year it was 20, and that was a lot. That was hard to push for. And then the next year it's like, hey, we're gonna swim Gibraltar from Spain to Africa. And there are 7 top swims in the world. Like there's mountains that you'll climb, Everest, and you know, all these top swims. Well, Gibraltar is one of those top 7 swims. In the English Channel, Catalina, swimming the Catalina Channel is another one. But this was a real challenge, and I trained, and we got out there, and it was unbelievable, that swim. I mean, we were swimming over waves that were probably 8 foot, and peaks of just water blowing, windy, currents were intense. We were swimming, basically, if I was swimming towards you to get to the other side, and you're Morocco and I'm Spain, we swam this way the entire way across, because the currents that come in to the Mediterranean, it's constantly flowing in. So we had to fight those currents, because at a certain point they'll pull you out of the water because you get into the ferry lanes and those high-speed boats are going across and you can't get near them. So we have boats in the front, boats in the back, a pilot boat that brings you water. There's all these rules. You can't touch the boat. You can't, you know, stop too long. And you have to go and touch the rock when you jump in and get to the other side and touch that rock, and then you're done. This was an amazing thing, to be in Europe and swimming. And after something like that, you look across and you see the other side and you say, what were we thinking? That is so far away, but we did it. And wow, let's do it again. All of a sudden this year I find out, you know, you have stage 4 cancer. We made the decision to have the prostatectomy on June 22nd, 19 days before the swim. And I was still swimming up to 3 miles a day before that. And I have to tell you, afterwards, there's the recovery time. There's a lot of talk of incontinence and your sexual drive and things like that. These are things they have to tell you, and absolutely you have to pay very close attention to those things. And there's a lot of things that depend on age and so forth. But getting your body in shape for surgery is something that needs to be considered, because it's like working out for a swim. You got to get your body in shape for that swim so you can handle the endurance. This is the same type of thing. When you're swimming, you're using your core and your stomach, and you're fluttering your legs, but that's not, you know, you're not doing a lot with your legs. Most of it's your arm, but you're building the core and you're strengthening your core, which is where they're going to go in and remove the prostate through the stomach, right in the belly button on the sides. And, you know, getting that area in shape was great. Using a kickboard, just a kickboard, you don't even have to be an advanced swimmer. Just holding the kickboard and kicking is going to give you that workout in your stomach muscles, and it's tremendous. You get out of the water and you feel it, and the next day you're like, whoa, I had a good workout yesterday. That's what you need to do before the surgeries, if you can. It's highly recommended, because when I came out of the surgery, I had the catheter in for a week, and when that came out, there were a couple of days of incontinence, and that was basically it. Then I started to be able to control it, and then I was able to really control it. And I was getting happier about that constantly, because I was getting my freedom, and I knew I couldn't go back in the water, and you know, for 6 weeks till the scars healed. But within about 2 weeks, the scabs were coming off on mine. But I didn't go in the water. I was able to take showers and stuff like that. So when it came to the actual day of the swim, I thought for sure, you know, I don't know if I can do this, but I'm gonna swim an hour, and I'm gonna go out and just enjoy it. And I jumped in the water, and it was colder than I expected. I got there the day of the swim, so I hadn't even been able to go in the water until we were jumping off the boat. There were 14 of us. We started swimming, and then the group broke into 2 groups, the faster group and the slower group, which by design, we have boats following both. So I drifted back, and I realized I started feeling really strong, and I wasn't feeling any pain. at all. And I decided, all right, I'm gonna go to the faster group because I know a lot of these guys are gonna get out. So I sprinted ahead and I felt really strong. And it took me an hour to catch him. And by the time I caught him, I knew right then that I could do the swim. I wasn't gonna give up. And I did it. 8 hours, 23 kilometers, and about 10 jellyfish stings. Dr. Wilson explained all of the things that can happen, and I was in that meeting with my wife, who was understanding that there's incontinence and erection problems, and she said, just get it out. Her whole take on that was, you're going to be around if you take it out, and we still have each other. It's great. So I'm very lucky there, but it is an important thing, you still want to be able to have intimacy. So these are things that they have to tell you, and I was very fortunate. So after the surgery, they did the pathology and found out that it was a Gleason 8. So it's a 3+5, which is a little more aggressive. So I'm glad we took it out because we didn't know beforehand. So that was important, and that helps them diagnose a treatment. What are we going to do next? You can't really check your PSA until 6 weeks after the surgery because it elevates, and then it should settle to a point where they can get a reading on it and understand, if it's at 0, amen, it didn't spread, or whatever the case is. That would be amazing, and that's what we're praying for. If it's not, then we're going to go to other measures. We're thinking, of course, Dr. T has a lot of things lined up, but radiating the lesion in the rib, which is up here, and getting that out would be the first step. And then the hormone therapy would be the following step, if not right away. So depending on where the PSA is, it's going to tell us what our next course of action is. And the hormone therapy should suppress it and keep it at bay for a period of time. As soon as you find out that you have cancer, any type of cancer, it's a real shock. And then you do your research, and then, it can scare you even more. It's okay to be scared. That motivates you to go and find a way to be unscared. How are you going to figure this out? And after interviewing multiple teams, 5 different hospitals, teams, and procedures that they were recommending, St. John's was a no-brainer. It just, every single thing made sense. They took the time to explain things. Even everyone supporting Dr. Wilson and his group was just incredibly nice, laughing on the phone. They lift you up from the beginning. They just start helping you. You don't know it, but you just start feeling more comfortable because they care. They really care. And all the way to the surgery, and then after the surgery, the post-care and in the hospital, every bit of it. I mean, it was just amazing. So it was a seamless level of care and attention, and you always have a question, no matter what. And there's always something more approximate that they can give you to hold on to and work towards something. And it was so, even now, and after not being in the hospital, I was able to, beat the incontinence. And that was one of the bigger things that I was afraid of. And it's okay to be afraid of that, but it's not the end of the world. You're getting something taken out of your body. It's a little bit of a different feeling afterwards. And then after, like, I'm at 5 weeks now, and I feel it is normal. Everything is back to working. So I'm a fortunate case. Your body's working a little differently, but it's rerouting and figuring out how to work, and it does it. And it's an amazing system. But having this team educate you and help you and let you know what's coming is amazing, because it takes a lot of the scare out and lets you reason with things, and you can move forward. So I am so thankful to them. I feel like they have saved my life. There's no question about it. And they did it in a way that makes me want to live stronger. When you find out you have stage 4 cancer, it doesn't matter where you are in life. Am I going to make it through this, or is it going to beat me? No, it's not going to beat me. I'm going to go for it. And swimming was that perfect thing to grab onto because swimming is always a struggle. There's always resistance. You're pushing, you can go faster, slower. You can swim at a dream pace that just sets your mind free and you just imagine yourself in every part of your life, or you can swim hard and fast when the only thing you can think about is your next breath. But overall, you're challenging yourself and it's you against the water and it's an individual battle. And I was able to use swimming as like a metaphor in my life to transition through this cancer and try and beat it. Up until that point, I thought I was going as hard as I could at work, pushing, I'm an inventor, so I love to come up with new inventions and I'm creating toys and things like that. And I didn't know how much fight I had in me until someone said, yeah, you have stage 4 cancer. All of a sudden, you just turn it on. And you're like, what have I been wasting my time doing? I mean, I have a lot to do. I've got to last long enough to see my kids, get married, have kids, be financially stable. And, it's a lot of responsibility. You just can't accept someone said, no, your time's going to be cut short. You just fight and gain extra days or hours or whatever it's going to take. And the swimming is definitely something that helped me get ready for the surgery. And it definitely made me in better shape after the surgery because my recovery in 20 days or so after that surgery, I swam 23K. And it's a fight, it's a battle. You just go for it. There's a lot of positive stories that I've heard where people are going 10, 15 years. It really depends. So it's a decision that you make, and I feel good about having the prostate out. I feel good about the incontinence that I don't have anymore because 3 weeks and I was back to normal. Still waiting on the ED, but it's looking very positive. So I'm happy about that. So I can see the future far enough ahead that I can still smile and see the things and not let this just ruin me. And I can compartmentalize it in my head and just live my life like I want to. Even though it's there, you just push it away and enjoy things a little bit more because, we're not immortal. There's a period of your life, I think, when you've made it to a certain point that you think you are immortal, that nothing's gonna take you down. And I think going for it and this team here is so incredible at St. John's. It's unbelievable. And I checked all the different hospitals. I mean, we were fortunate with our insurance to be able to talk to many doctors. I have many friends that are doctors and they gave me information and I slowly started to build up a knowledge that is on a subject that I never really looked at before. When I see those commercials on TV and they're talking about a medication for this or something that treats the cancer or something, I thought, wow, I feel sorry for those people. And then one day you wake up and you say, now I am one of those people. And it's a shock. You're like, but you have to fight. You have to keep your head up above water, keep looking forward, don't look back, don't look at the pain, don't look at all the negative things that can happen. Look at the positive things that can happen when you can get over those things. And fight for those things. And every day is a good day. If you can just push another one behind you and keep going, it's like swimming. Every stroke moves you a little bit forward.